Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Village of Westmont Planning and Zoning Commission for Wednesday, April 11th, 2018. It's 7 o'clock. Could I please have the roll called?
Commissioner Carmichael. Present. Commissioner Sharp. Commissioner Van Buren is here. Commissioner Thomas. Here. Commissioner Bartel.
Here.
Commissioner Lavoy. And Chairman Pill.
Here.
We have a quorum.
With the quorum, I'd invite everyone to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before you're seated, anyone who is going to speak tonight and give testimony either for or against, I need to swear you in. So if you'd please raise your right hand and just acknowledge with a simple I do. Do you swear that your testimony tonight will be truthful, so help your God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated, and on your way down into the seats, let's silence all the cell phones, pagers, and any electronic devices. I will ask that when you come up, you please sign in. There's a pen and paper up at the counter. Anyone who's going to speak will need to have you fill out the little form that's up there when you speak. All right, our first order of business tonight is the approval of the minutes of the February 14th, 2018 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Van Buren, second by Carmichael. Discussion, questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Van Buren says yes. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Bartel?
Yes.
Commissioner Lavoy? And Commissioner Carmichael?
Yes.
And Chairman Pill.
Yes. All righty, open forum. Is there anyone who is here tonight to speak on a subject that's not on our agenda? Yes, sir. Please approach the podium and sign in.
Actually, I signed in out first.
That's great, thank you. Saves a little time.
Yes, I'm just curious about what's going on in South Lincoln with all the surveying of the buildings.
I personally have no idea at all, but I will ask our village representative.
I don't know specifically where on South Lincoln are you speaking?
Every house on the east side of South Lincoln, on the first block, they've dug up the posts for the property line and tagged them. And they did the same thing in back in the alley. And this week, they were really doing an intricate surveying on Richmond Station and that building right next to it.
It could be one of a couple projects, and I'm not fully voiced in either one of those projects. I know that the village has contracted for certain survey work with an engineering agency on some of the utilities that run through the area. I don't know if it could have been them. And then there is a potential project that is not submitted yet for the corner over on Cass and Quincy that has not actually approached with an application as of yet, and they could potentially just be doing research on a potential project.
Okay, well, it's a pretty extensive survey. I mean, they're being pretty accurate about a lot of details. There's been no utilities marked yet. But
And that's why I'm not really sure who it could be. And if you, I can give you my card before you go, and I can connect you with our village engineer, who might have a little bit better information than I can give you.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? All righty, moving on to a review of the public hearing procedures. So for you gentlemen, I assume you're with our one item on the agenda tonight. So I will be introducing that in just a few seconds, and as I'm doing that, please come on up to the podium and sign in at that particular time. We'll have you make a presentation on the subject. I'll then go to staff for comments. We'll open the public hearing if there's anyone who would like to speak on the issue. And then at that particular point, we'll go through each of the commissioners who will discuss and perhaps ask questions at that particular point. At the conclusion of that, we'll read through the findings of fact, because there are 2 special use permits required here. And then we'll close the public hearing, and finally, our last step will be to vote on the issue. So that will be our sequence tonight. All righty, so we will go ahead. We have no old business tonight. We will move on to new business, planning and zoning, item 18-005. Victory Realty Partners LLC regarding the property located at 23 West Quincy Street in Westmont for the following. A special use permit request to operate a bank credit union in the B1 Limited Business District. B, a special use permit request to operate an on-premise ATM in the B1 Limited Business District. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening. So I'm Matt McCombs. I'm the president and CEO of Vibrant Credit Union. Vibrant is a $680 million credit union located in Moline, Illinois, headquartered in Moline, Illinois. We have locations, 17 locations in Iowa, Illinois, and in the state of Indiana. Our nearest location to here is in Westchester, located next to the Marianos, off Wolf and 31st Road. Our lease at that location is coming up, and so we were looking for different alternatives of where to move that location to, and so happened to find the location here in downtown Westmont, and we're relatively attracted to the area that we serve here. Our existing field of membership that we can serve, chartered by the state of Illinois, is from 22nd Avenue and 355 all the way over to 171 and 22nd Avenue, down to 55, following kind of Brookfield Zoo, and then over to 355 and 55. So this really kind of puts us right in the square middle of the field of membership that we can serve. We have about 55,000 members located across our overall geography, and about 2,000 that are located within this geographical area. So we're open to serve the public. We've been around since 1935. We started as the credit union to serve the John Deere Harvester Works plant, where they build combines, but in 1996 went to a community charter, and then in 2005 moved away from John Deere completely, and now serve an overall geographical community. So we've got kind of areas around the 3 states, and in the Chicago region, or the area up through here, that barrier that I talked about is where we serve. We offer products to residents as well as small business. So we serve, as I said, about 55,000 members across retail banking, so checking accounts, through mortgages to commercial loans. We serve a lot of small businesses in that area. So it's a pretty traditional financial institution. With the location, what we intend to do with it is serve as a retail space. So we'll use it to serve members from a primary banking situation. We serve right now in Westchester about 33 transactions a day, so it's not a heavy use facility. We don't anticipate significant rise in that transaction volume, partly because of what's happening nationwide in that banking transactions are moving down pretty quick as far as people walking into their banking facility. We offer a lot online or via mobile or any other aspect from there. We are a community-based organization, and so in the communities we serve, we tend to get relatively involved with local government, schools, and businesses, and look for ways that we can try to improve the economic well-being of the residents of the area that we serve. It's a big mission of who we are and what we believe in. We've been ranked as one of the top 20 credit unions in the country to work for. So out of about 6,000 credit unions, we're one of the top 20 in the entire country to work for. We've been the #1 place to work in the Quad Cities, where we're headquartered, for small business across the entire area. So we take a lot of pride in what we do. We take a lot of pride in being able to build happy, healthy communities, and so we're excited about the opportunity to be into Westmont.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit about the project?
Yeah, Derek,
Yeah,
I'll let you kind of take that.
My name is Derek Thurston. I am the facilities manager for Vibrant Credit Union. Essentially, the biggest plus point about that building there is that it was a bank before. I plan on not touching anything and actually really leaving it alone. If you look at our colors, you'll see that we're fairly vibrant. I would probably put some color schemes inside of there, maybe spruce it up a little bit, clean it up a little bit, but that's really about it. That would be pretty much my only plan. And then obviously tonight or tomorrow, if we get approved for an ATM, I would like to put an ATM out there as well. But that's all on your recommendations here.
The only thing that would look is there'd be no changes in any structural walls in the facility. The way in which we operate as a retail financial institution, we do have some areas that we set up as kind of office space for individuals when they want to open an account or ask questions and go from there. So there might be some interior walls that we just kind of start to build to give at least some secluded space in there, but for the most part, pretty minor in how we do that. As Derek said, the nice part about that location is it was already a financial institution, so there's not a major amount of shifting in what needs to be done. Derek talked a little bit about the colors and how we do things. Overall, what you'll find is we use the name Vibrant, but we're a pretty vibrant and active community partner. And so what you'd find is we really would look for ways to try to improve the small businesses that are in the area, the residents that are in the area. So every part of what the project would look like would be an attractive area that people would walk by and tie into the overall scheme of the area.
Great. All right. Anything else at this point?
No.
Great, thank you. I'll go to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what's before you are two special uses. First, there are special uses required for the actual banking facility to operate there because it is a service-based use and not a commercial retail-based use. And the space is 1,200 square feet, so it wouldn't meet one of our exceptions for under 1,000 square feet. It's very similar to some of the special uses we had. In fact, I think the last time we met, it's in the same space where a Pilates studio was looking to go. The other is special uses required for the ATM. So we actually single out ATMs as something a little bit different because there's a safety factor. The special use for the bank, there's a special condition that they need to show that there is no appreciable traffic impact, whether pedestrian or vehicular. And then the ATM itself is a special condition for safety. So one of the responses you have in the packet is that we do filter this over to the police department for an analysis. They did have an analysis that was done on the bank that was in this facility before. I asked them to, highlight if there was anything of concern based on the previous use. They saw no additional concerns and feel that the ATM would be appropriate in this space. And my understanding is you would put it in the same spot. That basically, they took it out and put a window in when they left.
That's correct,
Same spot.
yes. Yeah,
So-
same spot. Lighting is pretty adequate, and then also we would have cameras on it.
And then I think parking, so it is a similar use to what was there before. So actually by the code, we don't have to consider any additional parking. It is the same 6 spaces that would be required before. There are not 6 spaces behind that building. It would be grandfathered in based on the usage of the building. This is not any more intensive than the previous use that was there. And then I think I have one question directed to the applicants. Can you just tell us what your hours of operation would be?
Yeah, so we're open from 8:30 to 5, Monday through Thursday. We stay open until 6 on Friday, and then we're open from 8:30 to noon on Saturdays.
And as always, I'm available for any questions.
Great, thank you, I appreciate that, Joe. Okay, at this time, I will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this? Once was enough tonight? Great, well, thank you. All righty, we will now go to commissioners, and I will begin tonight's discussion with Commissioner Bartel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to follow up on the ATM just for a moment, is it on the premise, is it inside or outside?
Yeah, so it would actually be put on that wall where the
Okay.
window is, so it'd be accessible from the outside.
Okay.
But it'd be serviced on the inside.
Okay,
All the
okay.
mechanisms and everything would be on the inside, it's serviced and filled from the inside.
Yep.
But the only thing would be on the outside would be the member-facing transaction.
Okay, thanks. And The only other question I had was, would there be a panic button, for lack of a better term, to the police in case of a robbery? Is that
Yeah, so we
something
have.
standard?
Yep, we have a security platform that we utilize across the place, so that would be put just standard across all of our locations.
Okay, well, I was comforted to hear the parking issue is fine, and the, no issues with the police, and so I'm
The
supportive.
building would be alarmed at night as well,
Okay,
not just during the day. Yeah.
okay, thank you, that's all I had.
Thank you. Commissioner Carmichael.
Gentlemen, questions that came up for me. One, how many employees would be in the building each day?
Yeah, so we'll have between 3 and 4 employees a day that'll be in the
So
location.
that would be 3 or 4 parking
Correct, yeah.
spots used. And ATM security, I would assume, is standard with your updating it against the constant
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
attempts to cheat the machines.
yeah.
That is a constant thing that we deal with every day.
Yeah, and they've actually come out with quite a few new updates to machines. So with this being, there's some changes required to ATM machines by 2020. And so this will end up being a new machine that would get put in place with some new standards and things that would go there relatively quick.
I see. Well, I would say welcome to the community, and that we'd welcome you to join community organizations like Chamber of Commerce and Rotary.
Yeah, you'd find that's what we do. Yeah, thank you very much.
Certainly.
Appreciate it, Commissioner.
Commissioner Van Buren, please.
You mentioned that you had approximately 33 transactions a day, and you also mentioned the changing dynamics of banking. Of those 33 today, how many would be actual person-to-person, and how many would be online?
Yeah, those 33 are person to person.
Oh,
So
okay.
in this area, we're going to have significantly more transactions that take place online. We don't usually designate that to a physical location. So 33 in-person transactions a day that take place at ours. And the average transaction is between about 3 and 5 minutes. And then when you look at the average interaction that's not a cash transaction, so when someone's not going to the teller line, is going to take somewhere between that 15 and 45-minute range. If they're coming in to open an account or open a loan or get a mortgage, it takes about 15 to 45 minutes for that in-person transaction.
Is there any way technologically today that you can deal with this problem with people sticking scanners on the ATM?
Yeah, so there's some new security equipment that they're coming out right now that also puts the way that they do it today is they stick it basically on the outside and it reads everything that goes in. So there's some new ATM features that are coming out that keep those ATM features on the inside. Whenever there's an ATM fraud, so let's think of it from there, anytime somebody loses money, that individual is not responsible for it. So as the individual person that uses the ATM, if a fraudulent transaction occurs, they're not responsible. We as the financial institution, regardless if they're our member or not, are 100% liable for that transaction. So we've got a pretty vested interest in making sure that there's not fraudulent transactions that take place, because it's a pretty hefty expense for us when that takes place.
I don't have anything else, and welcome to
Yeah, thank you,
Westmont.
Commissioner. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Thomas.
The building is custom-made, like you mentioned, for your purpose. My question with the ATM, again, is the cameras. I'm assuming there's one right
Yeah.
there for the mugshot.
Yeah.
Anything on the side, outside, to see if anybody is standing next to the person in case of,
Yeah.
robbery or?
Every one of our buildings right now, I currently have cameras on the exterior of the buildings. I would do the same up here.
For the wider
Yeah,
shot?
for front door access, back door access, and ATM, I would have cameras all over the exterior of that. The street, across the street from the village, City Hall would have footage,
Okay.
almost 24 hours.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep.
Welcome, good luck.
Thank you, Commissioner.
All righty. Most of my questions have already been asked, but I do have a couple. So besides Westchester, how many Chicagoland other locations do you have?
So that's currently our only location we have in the Chicago area. The closest location we have besides that is in DeKalb.
In DeKalb, okay. And if this were to be approved tonight, and I see you're piggybacked for tomorrow night, what is the time frame? Could you walk me through that?
Yeah, so right now, what we've kind of roughly mapped out, without being able to get architectural drawings or anything else in there looking at this, is that we believe it'll take somewhere between 60 and 90 days for us to be able to have everything done in that, get drawings put together, make sure that everything is the way that we want, have the work completed in the building. Once that's done, it's a relatively seamless transaction to be able to move people over. Our lease is currently month to month in Westchester, so we're actually paying a higher lease amount since it is month to month, so we're kind of in the process of wanting to move that as quick as we can. Once that happens, so about 60 or 90 days, we would be relocating here, and we'd be ceasing operation in the Westchester market for the time being.
Okay, so perhaps sometime around mid-July,
Yeah.
somewhere in that area, 1st of August maybe, if it drags out a little bit.
Right.
And you've used the word lease, so you're leasing and not looking to buy that building.
Yeah, so it was interesting. One of the things we talked, it is a lease. We have talked around the idea of buying that facility if we know that the special permit would go through, and that would be something that we would talk to certainly the Chamber of Commerce about and to the council about as we go through of opportunities to be here. We're relatively excited about where the location of this is in proximity to our overall field of membership that we can serve. It sits right in the middle, and so our capability of serving people that are commuting through here, living here, is at a pretty high level.
Great, great. All right. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
All righty. Anybody else? John, any questions?
No.
Commissioners, any discussion or comments? Joe, anything else?
Nothing else, sir.
All righty. I will close the public hearing. And as we have two special uses, we will require a reading of the findings of fact, and we have combined them into one reading for both special uses. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is PZ 18-005, Victor A. Realty Partners LLC regarding 23 West Quincy in Westmont. Request for a special use to allow bank or credit union with an ATM in the B1 Limited Business District. Criteria number 1, that the establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare. Findings of fact, the proposed bank and ATM will enhance the public welfare by providing a valuable service to the village's central district, and no aspect of the proposed operation will jeopardize the safety, morals, comfort, or health of the village. The use will occur completely indoors with the exception of the ATM and have normal business operating hours. A previous bank with exterior ATM operated from this property without any detrimental impacts. Criteria number 2, that the special use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood. Findings of fact, the proposed bank will not cause adverse noise, vibration, light, odor, or parking impacts to surrounding properties. All operations will occur completely indoors except for the ATM with normal business operating hours. A bank previously operated from this property without adverse impacts on surrounding properties. Criteria number 3, that the establishment of the special use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. Findings of fact, the proposed use will occupy an existing building and surrounding properties are fully developed. Allowing this use at this location will not impede the redevelopment of surrounding properties. Criteria number 4, that adequate utilities, accessways, drainage, and/or other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Findings of fact, the property is currently served by adequate utilities, public sidewalks, and public parking facilities. No new redevelopment activities on the property are required or planned for this use. Criteria number 5, that adequate measures have been taken or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. Findings of fact, given the limited customer use at this location, this proposed use will not generate significant traffic congestion. The property is served by existing public sidewalks and public parking facilities. The property is located across the street from the Metro train station. Criteria number 6, that the special use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located, except as such regulations may in each instance be modified by the village board pursuant to the recommendation of the Plan Commission. Findings of fact, this proposed use meets all other zoning regulations and no variances or other special zoning approvals are needed. Criteria number 7, the proposed use meets the special conditions of Special Condition 2. Findings of fact, this proposed use will not cause appreciable traffic congestion or hazard to pedestrian safety. Public sidewalks service the property and there are sufficient public parking facilities in the immediate area. The property is located across the street from the Metro train station and near major bus routes. Given the limited customer base and limited employees on the site, this use shall not result in traffic congestion. Given the past successful experience with the exterior ATM at this location, the exterior ATM should not pose a hazard to pedestrian safety. Criteria number 8, the proposed ATM use meets the special conditions of Special Condition 8. The Westmont Police Department has performed a security and safety review of the proposed ATM in light of the standards as required by Special Condition 8 of the Westmont zoning ordinance. The Westmont Police Department has concluded that the proposed ATM will be in a visible location with sufficient lighting and security, with sufficient and safe access for pedestrians, and that the proposed ATM is otherwise compatible with and will complement the existing uses in the area.
Thank you. You need a break now. If you are in agreement with these findings of fact, please raise your hand. We are unanimously in agreement with the findings of fact. I will entertain a motion for Victory Realty Partners LLC regarding the property located at 23 West Quincy Street in Westmont for a special use permit request to operate a bank credit union in the B1 Limited Business District.
So moved.
Motion by Carmichael, second by Thomas. Any comments or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes?
Commissioner Bartel?
Yes.
Commissioner Carmichael?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes, and Chairman Pill.
Yes. I will entertain a motion for item B, a special use permit request to operate an on-premise ATM in the B1 Limited Business District.
So moved?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Bartel, second by Commissioner Van Buren. Any discussion or comment on the motion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Carmichael?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Buren votes yes. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes?
Commissioner Bartel?
Yes.
And Chairman Pill.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, you have our recommendation that will be forwarded on to the village board, and I believe you will not have a very long wait. You will be in front of the village board tomorrow night, and they will make the final disposition on this. Thank you for a great presentation. Welcome to Westmont, and good luck. Anything else?
Just that next month, we just have one item on the docket, so it should be a simple meeting. I'm not gonna
Okay.
say short, but maybe simple.
And is it closed at this point? I mean, they're,
No other applications can be received at this point, so we'll.
And that's
we'll
on
just be
May
one.
9th, I believe?
Be on May 9th. at
Okay,
7
so our
p.m.
next meeting will be May 9th at 7 PM right here. Anyone else have any other comments to make? All righty. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So
So,
moved?
so moved.
I'll second. I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Van Buren, second by Commissioner Bartel. All in favor? Aye.
aye, aye, aye.